turning vids up lately because I've been doing stuff to the lathe. Now, some of you might have already seen the fact that we've got new motor fitted. So 2.2 kilowatt motor thrown in. Got rid of the Reese pulleys. I can control it like I've shown you before through the inverter, but I made this box, spin this round, and it works pretty good. Okay? Got a few magnets on this thing on the bottom, and that is absolutely spot on. But there's a video, on that already. Okay, fine. But for a while now, I've wanted to, swing the head of this lathe out and turn some slightly bigger diameters. And now I'm not talking about going crazy, okay? I'm just talking about bigger diameter than the 12 that this lathe will give. Now, as much as you've got 6-inch to the bed, of course you've got to be able to get the original bit of wood on there. Now, unless you've got a bandsaw and you can cut out, a rough circle, I'm not going to be able to get 6 inches in the finished piece on this lathe without swinging the head out. I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to have to turn the piece of wood to round. That then is going to lose some diameter. The biggest I think I've managed to turn on here without swinging it out is something like a 9 or a 10-inch diameter piece, which is fair enough. But I want some slightly bigger platters maybe. So I wanted to pull this out and then turn it so that it's dropping below the bed. Now, like many lathes like this, you do get, of course, this thing. Okay, and it's pretty heavy duty, and it allows you to attach it up and use the other side of the bed here, so that, imagine if this is connected over there, right? So then you can swing this round, pull the lathe, turn the lathe head round, put that on, and the shape of it means that if this is on the other side, then the wood you're turning is over here. But I'm not stuck on these. What I've noticed when I've got a big piece on there, I've got to have this bit to max sort of pull out on that little bit, and this just seems to be, it's way out there, and it just doesn't seem to work very well. Haven't had that much luck with this. So what I wanted to do was to put in a permanent sort of bed extension at right angles to the normal bed, slightly lower, so that when I swing this head round, I've got a permanent bed where I just use this normal banjo and turn as I'm used to. So that's what this is. Now, it doesn't look pretty, does it? But it works. So I've got pretty solid wood here, and it's bolted in a few places. It's actually bolted to the lathe down there. You can see them, and it's bolted into this cabinet that the lathe now sits on. What I did was got some timber here, which is already milled out, that kind of L shape, and then what I did is I put just metal bar on the top and underneath. This, it looks like it's keeping these bits together. It's not actually, it's pushing them out, because when I put all the bolts in here, and there's tons of them going along the bottom, for some reason it was bending in slightly, so this pushes it out to keep a sufficient gap to put this in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop that in and put it in here. before I do that, I want to show you this concept I've got for a slightly different design for a tool rest. My standard tool rest, here's a short, I've got a short one and a long one, is of course this. Okay, so I've got a couple of them. Now this type of lathe, the tool rest is gripped by obviously this coming through. Okay, so you can see it comes through, that's fine. And I know that's really long. I've always been meaning to cut it down, but I just haven't got around to it. So anyway, so that goes through and grips it. You'll notice when you go right down through, the tool rest post doesn't go all the way through there. That's because the mechanism to tighten that to the bed, alright, is integrated all the way through, and it's on a cam. So once the cam slackens, obviously you can move it, turn that round, and the cam locks it in place, and it's really solid. You know, it's a good heavy piece of kit, but that only gives you a small amount of adjustment for the height of the rest. So that's at its lowest, and then so if I just try and give you some idea here, so you've only got that much to play with, and at some point you've got actually less than that, because the bolt coming through here, you can see there's a bit of space above the bolt, so once this gets above that bolt, it's not going to grip, is it? So I've only really got from that bolt down to where it's going to hit the through bar, which locks the whole lot. Well, it's not too bad for the bottom end. So if I'm turning a job, you know, that gets low enough on the chuck so that I can, you know, get the big tools in and get the right angle to do a nice cut, right, and bevel and all that stuff with a spindle or bowl gouge. What I've not liked is, you know, I can't get this one high enough. I can't remember if the longer tool rest I've got has a longer stem. I think it might be slightly longer. There it is. So from neck to bottom, it isn't actually. It looks like the shorter tool rest has got a slightly longer stem. But if you look up top, the longer tool rest is actually, you know, the bit from this neck to the top is actually taller. So they're not far, a few millis here and there, but it's then at the end of the day, when I've got this in, and let's say I'm using my skew, when I use my skew, if this is the wood, imagine this whole, you know, this chuck, I like to be hitting the job around about here. So around about the 11 o'clock mark. And I like the skew, you know, at the right angle, but coming in here and I get a nice cut going along. Now that's easy to do on this rest at its maximum height. Its maximum height, usable height, is around about dead center. But if I've got a larger piece on here like a bowl, and I want to use my skew on the outside to get a perfect cut, I'm just not talented enough to do that. I've seen people like, you know, artists like Steve Jones, who can tilt the skew right up there. So there's the skew, and you can tilt it practically vertical, and he gets his cut, and he's controlled, and he's safe, and it's perfect. When I do that, that's where I get a bad catch, and at that angle, you know, you get a real shock. You ruin your job, and you know, it just doesn't feel right. I just can't stand it. I like to be on top of the piece and cutting kind of at that sort of angle, not down here. So basically what I'm saying is I want to be able to get a rest. Like, yes, it'll go right to the bottom, but also it could go quite high. So I came up with this idea, and it's just a concept at the minute. And it's this. Okay, so the concept is, there's the post which goes into there, there's the tool rest, and it's on this sort of ring collet, which can tighten up, and it doesn't slip up and down. Now, this isn't finished, but it works pretty good. So that, yeah, you've still got your little bit of adjustment in there, but what you've actually got is full adjustment for that to go up and down there as well. So that's like a short post I've got, which is already potentially allows the rest to go higher than the traditional ones I've got. But what I've also got here is a much longer rest. Now this is just 25mm steel, which I've tidied up, and it works perfectly in terms of going into the existing banjo and tightening up. Now this aesthetically looks great, but while I was making it, I always thought this connection from here to there's the weak point. So maybe not when you're turning and you're resting there, but as you get further out here, that's putting quite a bit of force at that joint. Now that joint, what I've got is this is tapped. It goes straight through the tapped hole that existed. It's an M8 tap, and then goes through and obviously locks into that. Now to tighten this and to get it working perfectly, what I wanted, and I'm going to kind of try and get into here, what I wanted was to have no gap top and bottom of this, hard up against this edge, yet still the bolt inside protruded enough to still tighten onto this post. And I've got it okay, but if I put loads of pressure on, and I'm having to really press on that, mind, you can see a bit of flex, and that flex has to come from here. Alright, now if I had a metal lathe, I'd square that off absolutely perfectly straight across square. I don't have a metal lathe, and if that was perfectly straight across square, then I could have done this bolt system slightly different. So yeah, the top of this and the bottom of this would be perfectly flush against that, and maybe it would be alright. But I'm going to redesign it so that, because at the minute I'm not, although I need help, although I think that this looks fabulous, I think I'm going to make this stronger. So instead of the locking mechanism being this tightening into there, I'm going to thread the other side. I'm going to put a hole on the other side, tap it out to an M8. I'm going to make my own little handle, and this is going to be permanently hard tightened up to there. Now to undo this, I'll have to use a bit of this just to slacken it off so I can show you. So there, I've just undone it, and straight away, you know, you've got full movement. So you can see inside where it is, and that'll just come straight off there. Okay, the bolt is permanently glued into here. Now, I did say I've got that extension there, and that extension is lower than the normal bed. There's the normal bed, there's the bottom of the lathe, and if you go straight across, so this bed is another, what, 2 and a bit inches below where it normally was. So that gives you your extra bit of diameter for turning. But this certainly wouldn't be, that post there, or the existing ones would certainly not be long enough to get to centre when it's turned out, which is why I wanted this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn this around and then show you what I mean. So I'll put the phone, put the camera in the holder, times it's bound to run out. Alright, just going to pull this up. So I'm going to turn the lathe head round and show you what I mean. No, you can't see that because of the massive motor that's on there. Right, so I'm gonna have to take this off again. Right, so there's the head turned round to full 90. Doesn't have to be full 90. We could have it, you know, a little bit less. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I've got to undo the bolt underneath, drop that out, take this off, put it on there, and show you what I mean. Right, so there's the rest on there, and it can be that side or that side, and obviously into fully middle or out fully, whichever way you want it. Just going to tighten that up a bit. Take that out, because that would be no good. There's centre, so I'm just going to tighten that where it is. Do, and then I put in the longer bar, which is, compared to that one, you can see, oh, nearly double the length. And then this over the top. And at the minute, you just tighten it up like that, and it gets a good grip. It really does. And that, you can see, easily would turn, you know, centre to centre, whichever tool you want. Okay. Okay, so there you go. And it is pretty solid, but it's got, there it is, it does have, not there, but it's got a little bit of flex there. I'm having to put a tiny bit of weight on, like, but there is a bit. And if you're doing a big job, I think you're going to feel that. Okay. Of course, this can pretty much go anywhere. Because that, you know, I can put it there if I want, and I can spin the lathe clockwise if I wanted, and I can turn over there. Anyway, it's just a different type of tool rest than what we're used to. At least I haven't seen anything like this before. Just suddenly kind of dawned on us as a potential idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten that up fully. I'm going to drill that, tap it out, make a little handle, and see how we're going on. Okay? Cool. Okay, so this is where I've ended up. That joint there now, there's the high tensile thread going through there, I've got some epoxy glue between the two. I've got my welder up there somewhere, so if you can see it. Yeah, there. I'm tempted to weld this up, but I think it's pretty strong. We shall see, but I might run a bead all the way around there. Because this doesn't tighten up now to lock it onto the vertical bar, I've got a spare handle which goes into there, and that's what we're going to use. So not that I would need it turning here really. Let's give it a shot with the long bar in. Well, it certainly locks down pretty good. That the little bit of flex that we had before is gone. I'm putting a good bit of force on there and it's not going anywhere. It feels much nicer to be able to secure that. I know I'm getting a good tight fixing there. Obviously this is your normal tightness and it feels pretty good. Now, will this get in the way of turning? Who's to say? Is it something to get used to? Sure. I was having to think about it, and you could, depends on how you want to do it, but you could have this on the job that side, so you're always cutting up towards this, or depends on what the job is. I'm sure you could have that on that side, and you know, that could be part of your support and you're cutting away from it. I'm going to stick a lump of timber in and see what it's like. Let's try it on that side first. See what it's like with a skew. Now just about all of my chisels need sharpened. What we'll see. So I can easily get above this piece. And of course I haven't got too high. What do we reckon? It feels pretty solid, I have to say. It feels solid. Let's try something else. Well, I think it works pretty good. Well, I think that's pretty good. Alright, so I haven't fully tested it on a big piece, so I'm going to turn the lathe head out on another piece and see what it's like. But I am very pleased with first impressions. Feels pretty good. Definitely. There's something different. I think I prefer with the bar on the left hand side, so you're turning with this bit. But you know, you switch it around, do what you want. As always, let us know what you think. Good, bad, either way. Thanks very much for watching. You take care.